important that we also listen to our leaders. If you listen to the Chatham House address of the chairman of the Nigeria Governors Forum only a couple of weeks ago, he itemized, this improper perspective, because the NGF had been very proactive, in working with addressing this pandemic issues. And look, we can't say the entire country is in a panic, because only 6 states account for about 70% of, this pandemic. And the country has done a lot, in ensuring that, this is kept under control.
But some people argue that only 6 states account for the burden, because perhaps only 6 states have the strength to test and actually see what's going on there.
I agree with you to some extent, because when in March last year, that's in March 2020, when this thing broke out, only about 4 testing centers were available. But, by October, there were testing centers all over the country. Unfortunately, a lot of people do not even know that testing is free. If you go to Maitama Hospital, for instance, you'd spend virtually less than 5 minutes to get tested. But a lot of people don't want to get tested, or don't even approach, or broach the idea of getting tested, because, they're afraid that they're going to be stigmatized. But it is necessary that if you want to live a free and, equitable, in a free and equitable society, it's good to go and get tested. I know a lot of countries where tests are going on and people are moving freely. The only thing is to observe, the protocols. And, life goes on. Remember that last year, which was I call it the year of the doctor, a lot of things happened. Our economy shrank, businesses collapsed, people were out of jobs. And there are a lot of economic, repercussions that go with this pandemic. And people would ignore it only to their peril, because it's important. This is an infodemic. It's not necessarily a health issue. This affects every sector of the society. And Dr. Kayode Fayemi, the governor of Ekiti State, made this very clear in his Chatham House address, that all sectors of the economy, all sectors of society must begin to consider, the methods of absorbing the shocks of such a situation. Because going forward, we should know that when such health, situations arise again, everybody should be ready to attack it in his, different sectors, so that, society would move on smoothly.
Indeed. I mean, there ought to be preparations in case of such an eventuality. Again, it's something that should register. The question is, what long-term investment have we made in health, in healthcare as a whole?
I think there is, if you look at it very, very critically, a lot of attention has moved from every other sector to health. And what the governors are saying is that shouldn't be the case. If health situations of this country were already addressed ahead of time, this wouldn't have been, I know a lot of countries where you go to, and, you would seem to think that the pandemic is not even in existence, because all you need to do is just observe the protocols. But the situation in Nigeria is different, and that is because of the lack of, or paucity of, information that goes out there. There are a lot of people who are in denial, and there are a lot of people who don't even take it seriously, even though they know it. You can see from the way people use their masks in town. A lot of people just use the mask for fulfilling all righteousness, not because they believe that there is a pandemic that's likely to kill them. So it's important that information goes around that coronavirus is real, and that people abide by the kind of stopgap measures that governors and governments put together. But on the area of investment, I mean, from the onset, about $20 million was made. $20 million was made, available to NCDC, and states have also, created all sorts of task forces of their own in different areas, especially in the most hit states. And if you look at a place like Lagos, you would see that, the health sector in Lagos has improved, meteorically because of the effect of the pandemic. But still, I must say, there are, measures that are not in place. Oxygen canisters are not available all over the place, and there's shortage of, shortage of treatment, essentially. But that's not to say that nothing is being done. A lot is being done, and the response has been very, very commendable.
What we